So early on in Gamecast's life, we did a topic that was, what's the game of the year so far?
Yeah.
And it was looking back at the first quarter of 2015. We are now through the second quarter of 2015.
Lord, it's going fast.
Yeah, it really is. So I want to revisit that topic. What is the game of the year so far? What's your kind of review of the first half of 2015?
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Okay, and this is based on
2
what,
days of
Greg?
gameplay. Based on 2 days of gameplay. But I'll leave it out. No, that'll be my surprise guess for what's going to be in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So far, what did we say the first time I did this? Do you remember?
Dying Light, I think.
Did
was
we?
your
I think we
answer?
all universally did Dying Light, didn't we?
Probably.
All right. So then I think from there you add to the list Batman and Witcher in terms of like
Big things that mattered.
exactly. Her Story I'd put on there too. I think that's gonna turn a lot of heads by the time we get there. It's one of those games that's gonna get a lot of nods when we get to a Game of the Year thing. I don't know how many people actually give it Game of the Year. If they're still insulting enough to say Indie Game of the Year, it'll get Indie Game of the Year for sure.
Before you go on with that, though,
Yeah.
Her Story, it's something that's interesting to me because I've read a bit about it. I heard you and Nick doing a Let's Play of it in here.
YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames.
And my question is it a good game, or are people just talking about it because it's different? Because, you like the Gone Homes and you like these games, but there was something there and it is an experience. Is this just kind of trying to do that too?
I mean, it's trying to be different. It's a very unique idea. You know what I mean? Like that's, if you haven't played it, and we hadn't played it till we sat down to do it, it's that we didn't know what we were doing. We sat down, everybody said they liked it. We sat down and started playing it, and just getting dumped onto a computer screen in a police record folder, and then trying to piece together what's happening, and then going, and then like, this is cute, and then being like really engaged in the story and where it's going. I mean, this is the whole thing. Like, a lot of people wanted to be jerks when Gone Home was getting all its praise. I'm like, yeah, it's a fun interactive experience, but it's not a game. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, are we gonna sit here and just, well, a game has to have a jump button. A game has to have this. You know what I mean? Like, no, games can be whatever they are. If they're a game, if they're an entertaining, and there's an objective you're driving towards, right? And solving this mystery in this game is it. So that is a game, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can look past the fact that it is different and unique and compelling and interesting, and that's what makes it. The fact that it isn't a third-person action adventure, it does speak to what it is. You know what I mean? Does make it interesting. Does show like what you can do with games and have them still be impactful and matter. And the fact that if you haven't played this game, you're just at a computer terminal. You're just typing words on your keyboard that are popping up on that computer terminal in that world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fascinating and awesome. It's it's an awesome idea and an interesting idea. Like, that deserves the praise it's getting.
Mm-hmm.
It is a game.
Good. Colin?
I still think that this year is probably about a trifecta of games that I think are somewhat similar to each other in spirit, which I think is Dying Light, Witcher, and Batman. And I think that I say that because they're open world games that I think all do things well and all do things poorly. And Dying Light, I think, is the most well-rounded of those three, and I'll stand by that. Like, I know some people are like tragically upset, but that I think Dying Light's still the best game of the year, but I do. And I say that because it's the best one to play. The game plays way better than Witcher. I can't even imagine a world where Dying Light doesn't play as well as Witcher. So I think that in my mind, that's off the table. And then Batman, to me, has been really fun, but it's very one-dimensional in the way it's played. To me, it's not so much about fighting or anything like that, especially because of the removal of boss fights, which was kind of weird. It's more about like you're just kind of mashing the triangle or the square button. Occasionally, you hit the triangle button to combo someone or like to deflect their attack, and then you just beat them up, and then you move on to the next story or part of the story. So, what I think these three games do differently than each other that makes them all really interesting and all valid and all quite good in their own respect is I think Dying Light's the one that's good to play. I think Dying Light, I was shocked by how fun Dying Light was and how much it made sense and how ambitious the game felt. It's a first person zombie clobbering parkour game. It sounds, I remember when Greg described it to me, like, that sounds like shit. Like, I don't want to play that at all, especially considering, and I'm not, Techland made it. Techland's not a shitty developer, but they're not the greatest developer in the world. And this is another common theme between at least two of these games. They came out with something that was astonishingly good. The disappointing thing about Dying Light is it's just more zombie shit. I'm just so fucking sick of zombies. I can't even explain to you how sick of zombies I am. And that's the unfortunate reality of that game is that you're playing like another zombie apocalypse because we have no fucking ideas beyond zombies. But the game was fun to play. It had a great crafting system. The parkour felt right. It was a great solution to the vertical the inability to move vertically in games like this, like you basically just climb over everything. I think the leveling, the trifecta leveling system is really fucking awesome. You get experience points just for jumping, just for climbing. You get experience points for fighting. You get experience points for beating quests. It's a game that makes you feel like you're progressing. I think Dying Light isn't getting a lot of love because a lot of people have forgotten about it. Yet I think it's a game that stands out in my mind still as maybe the best overall game of the year that I played so far. The Witcher, I think, wins in terms of its depth. And I've said that this is a game, I like getting a lot of bang for my buck. I like games that give you a lot of things to do. I think this is the densest game I've ever played in my life, and I think it's too dense. For completionists, of course, you could just ignore shit, but you don't want to ignore things. It's just like, I never feel like I'm getting anything done in The Witcher. I played The Witcher for like 80 hours. And I feel like I haven't done a fucking goddamn thing in the game yet. I'm like, it's actually to the point where I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like, there's just so many things to do and so many places to run around to, and people talk to me. I don't even know what the fuck, like what I'm even supposed to be doing, because I've done literally 75 side quests and have played more Gwent than a man can possibly play. You know what I mean? But the game has substance and style. I think it's a very good game. I think it could play better. I think the horseback riding sucks. I think the combat's a little, like it reminds me of like Assassin's Creed in kind of a weird way, where I'm like, this isn't that fun to play. I don't really want to play this. I want to experience it. The common theme between Dying Light and The Witcher to me is the developer it came from. CD Projekt, much like Techland, has arrived now. Now
Sure.
they're here. Like we knew Techland can make a good game, albeit a little bit broken with games like Dead Island. We knew CD Projekt with the other Witcher games. They were competent developers that had fans, but now these are AAA polished 9.0 games that now you have expectations for it. And one thing I appreciate about CD Projekt specifically is how they talk to their consumers and how they respect their consumers, and how they respect the process and the system, and they're not nickel and diming people. I really, really think that's cool. And Techland does the same thing when they were making fun of Destiny's DLC with Red Bull and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was really funny. And then we get to Batman, and I think Batman nails it in terms of story, in terms of character, in terms of ambience. I think that Batman in some ways is a product of Rocksteady, which is a very competent developer, outsmarting itself a little bit. I think that they thought a little bit too much about what they need to do to make this game different.
We have to add it. We have to add to this and crank it up to 11.
I'm confused, like, why there are no boss fights. Like, it's very, when you bring down in a way, it's realistic, because when Batman will go after the Penguin or Poison Ivy, he's not going to beat the shit out of Poison Ivy in the comic book. So, like, he doesn't have to, like, that's not the way he does. Like, once he gets to her, it's over, right? And so there's a realistic thing, like, he's not going to have this hour-long boss fight with Penguin. He just punches him in the face and throws him in his fucking car and brings him to Gotham City, police department. So there's something to be said about that. Like, okay, I get it, but the boss fights I thought were clever in the Arkham games, and I liked them, and it felt like you accomplished something more than just kind of going through the motions of getting further and further through the quest until you inevitably just grab him in a cutscene or her and put him or her in the car and bring him to prison. So there's that, and I just feel like Rocksteady kind of actually simplified it in some ways and made a game that was a little more, I don't know, a little more traditional, but I appreciate what they did. And I think that they nail the writing, they nail the ambience. They're a studio that has proven that they can do right by other people's IP, especially an IP as powerful as Batman. So I'm excited to see what they do next. So those three games to me are all open world, non-linear, role-playing game inspired, or just straight up role-playing games with upgrade systems and upgrade trees and skill trees. And Batman's skill tree and Dying Light's skill tree are way better than The Witcher's, I think, in terms of giving you things that are meaningful and that you want to do. Like I said in The Witcher, there are upgrades. I'm sitting on like 15 upgrade points because I don't even want anything. I'm like, all this shit sucks. I don't care about any of this. So they're all games that got something right, got something wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think one is immediately better than the other. I just think that I want gameplay, and Dying Light delivers it.
See, and that's the problem. Yeah, is I feel
I'm
like
sorry, I talked for like ever on that.
I feel like none of them like are far and away the winner. I think for me, Dying Light's at the end of the pack. I think it's a race between Batman and Witcher right now. But yeah, I have problems with both those things. Not huge problems, not glaring problems. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I loved Batman. I hated the tank control Batmobiles. I didn't mind that there were no boss fights. I thought they'd run their course. I thought that's in Arkham City and Asylum. That's really where it ground to a halt a lot of times, like that Mr. Freeze battle that people either loved or hate. I know most people loved it. For me, it was annoying, like back in the day in Arkham City having to do that. I like the Deathstroke battle, but that's another one that was like, alienating. So to get there and just have it be the story and go and do all this stuff, it was great. But it is by the numbers, especially when I was platinuming over the weekend, skipping the cutscenes. It's just like, all right, jump in. in, land here, fight these guys. Okay, this is a Predator mission. This is a Batmobile tank mission. This is a race. This is a tank. This is, more fighting. This is a tank. This is a tank. This is a tank.
Yeah.
Stop with the fucking tanks. That, and then, Witcher's the same way, right? Of like, Witcher is a lot of fun, and it's when I kick into that critical thing of like, if I'm trying to think of like what game is so far this year has the most going for it. It seems like Witcher, with all the content it has, with the DLC it has, with the story, with the graphics. I enjoy the combat with your upgrades, all that jazz. Like Witcher's if somebody's like, I can only buy one game this year for the entire year, I'm going to say Witcher, because there's so much content, at least right now, right? And then Dying Light, I enjoyed, but I had put it down, and then once I put it down, I was like, oh, I don't need to go back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, it was similar to what you were saying, right? That it was for Batman or whatever, like it was traditional by the numbers. Like that's how I felt about Dying Light. Like the gameplay was solid, but it was doing the same thing over and over again to get to the next upgrade point. But that's video games in general, so that's never a quality knock. What do you think, Tim?
So I mean, for me, I'm not the biggest AAA game guy. Like I'm not going to play every single game. Like you guys, that's what you do. For me, there are the AAA games like Metal Gear that I'm looking forward to. And I'm definitely going to play, and like I love the Final Fantasies and Kingdom Hearts and all this stuff.
You won't play those this year?
I'm not, no. But I have my franchises that are my go-tos. But otherwise, and Nintendo, obviously, Nintendo's my AAA heaven, right? But 2015 has been a bust so far in terms of Nintendo experiences and all that stuff. I mean, they've done a lot of good. Like I love how they're handling the Mario Kart DLC and the Smash Bros DLC specifically. I feel like I'm consistently getting new content. I've been going back to Smash, not that I wouldn't have anyways, but I'm going back and getting fresh experiences. Like this weekend, I got to play as Ryu, and I was like, wow, this is fun again. Like I'm experiencing Smash again for the first time, and that's great. But I can't give that my game of the year, But then thinking back on it too, in the last time I kind of skimmed through the last topic we did, and I brought up Pago Blast, and I was like, it's a fucking mobile game and all this stuff. That is the one game that I'm consistently going back to, and I keep saying this, but every day I play, and I had a lot of problems with it when I first brought it up a couple months ago. They fixed a lot of those issues, and now I know.
Do you think they watched the episode of the show?
They probably did.
Yeah.
They're probably like, I'm going to fix.
Tim's got some good ideas. We'll fix these.
But it has a lot of issues still, and I still don't like their promote this on your Facebook to get free lives. I'm like, God, just please fucking stop. Like I wish I could just buy this game and play it.
Yeah.
So that's annoying. But I've kind of just learned to make it part of my life to play a couple 10 minutes a day every day. And it's fun because they keep coming with challenges. The 4th of July just happened, and they had a whole new set of levels that were like fireworks based and stuff. And it's like, I just like it because Peggle is the gameplay is awesome. And I think that's what's important about it, is that I love it because it's a game. It might be my game of the year because I love it as a game. And people are going to hate on me, I'm sure, because, of course, Tim, it's fucking mobile.
Haters going to hate.
Whatever. They're going to hate. I love this game. It's great. Going back to console stuff, I've had an Xbox One sitting in a box that I haven't opened for years. Last week, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Cuphead sold me enough that I'm like, I'm going to play that for sure. Yeah. So then I hooked it up. And I downloaded Ori because that was the one Xbox game that I was like, that speaks to me and I want to play it. And it's one of those things where I turned it on. I was like, I'm going to play for 15 minutes. And then 3 hours later, I'm like, holy shit, this game's good. Yeah. That game, it's so beautiful and it's fun. It doesn't play right for me. The controls and just the way the character moves and the physics, it doesn't quite feel right. But I think that kind of makes it funner for me too, where it's different than I expect it to be. So that adds a little bit to the challenge, and it's not so much in a frustrating way, just in a more, I need to wrap my head around this in a different way than I'm used to. Sure. And I'm having a damn good time with it. And I have a feeling that once I beat that game, it's probably going to be my game of the year so far answer. Once Mario Maker comes out.
Nah, fuck that. Metal Gear.
Things are going to change, Greg. Yeah. Things are going to change.
Have they dated Mario Maker?
Yes, September 11th.
September?
11th.
Okay.
Yes. I'm pretty excited. It's for Sean Finnegan's birthday. That's why they're doing it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Okay, so besides your game of the year, just in terms of new, the video game industry as a whole so far in 2015, you think it's been good? Been a good half year for games?
I think it has been for sure. Yeah, I really feel like both, especially we're console, our feet are firmly planted in the console market. I feel like it's been a great year for PS4 and Xbox One really getting next gen or this gen, their feet, their legs, you know what I mean? We saw in that first year, oh, this is fun, this is good. But now you're getting, like I said in the Hot Pepper game review of Batman, right? For me, this is the first game I've been playing where I'm like, fuck, this is next gen. This is like from the ground up something that it could never have been on PlayStation 3. Because even playing Dark Souls or not Dark, Bloodborne, right, for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I know that's on a lot of people's list, but that was obviously a great part of the first half of 2015. It's like, okay, this is cool, but it's not like blowing my hair back in terms of what the PlayStation 4 can do, especially like character creator with Galvatron and stuff like that. But
yeah, I was gonna say Bloodborne to me was the biggest surprise, and I don't think it was a big surprise to a lot of people, but it was a big surprise to me in the sense that I always begrudgingly played Dark Souls. Like, when Dark Souls came out, I'm like, I don't like Demon Souls, but I'll play Dark Souls, I guess. And I didn't like it. And Bloodborne was one of those games where I stuck with it long enough where I'm like, I like this and I get it. And I almost feel bad that I didn't beat it because I spent a lot of time with it. And I think that we went to PAX East and that's why I stopped playing it. And then it's just a game you can't go back to. Like, I'm just not in that rhythm anymore. I feel like if that didn't happen and I kept playing it and I beat it and stuff, I just felt very satisfied with myself, very smitten with the experience. I think that game was very good. It's just not one of my games of the year because I didn't beat it. I didn't see enough, but I was very impressed with it, and I started to finally get it. That said, I think Bloodborne, as I've been saying since the first time I played it, long before it came out, is just not like Dark Souls in a lot of ways. I think that it's a little quicker. I think adds just an element of arcadiness. I don't think it's the same game, and I think that's why it appealed to me. And finally, the comboing with the gun and the sword and stuff like that was pretty cool. And I want to give a shout out as well to all three of those games that we mentioned earlier, so Dying Light, Witcher, and Batman, in terms of, to Greg's point, those all felt like next-gen experiences to me. Right. And might have been the first games that I had played on the console. And I think Dying Light might really be the first one where I was like, this is really impressive. Like, I remember looking around being like, this is impressive that this world is this big. There's no loading. The draw distance is perfect. The lighting's great. I remember being really, really astonished with how good Dying Light looked. And then Witcher came out, and I think Witcher has a great look. I don't think all of it looks good. I don't think the character models are very good, with the exception of maybe some of the main characters. I think there's a lot of like repetition and hairstyles and facial types and stuff like that. But the environments and again the lighting is astonishing in The Witcher. I can't believe how fucking good that game looks sometimes when you're riding through the Pine Barrens and the lights shining through the needles and stuff. I'm like, damn, man, this is amazing. And then with Batman, I just think Batman is just, very technically sound. Load times are appropriate. The frame rate's steady. The game just runs very well. Like it sucks for PC gamers that the game doesn't run well for them because I think it runs great on PS4. Although again, it's had catastrophic problems on PS4 in terms of just crashing my system. But so to those three games, I think to your question, we're in good shape. We have this first half of the year has been front loaded with some really great stuff. Now we have a little bit of a lull where we can get in games like Rocket League, for instance, which I think is I played the shit out of Rocket League yesterday because we had it a little bit early. Game's fucking awesome. I mean, that game, and on a pure gameplay level, that game's gonna have people hooked for years. I know it. Yeah, you can just feel it, just like the one that with the awful name that came and my balls.
Okay, good.
And then there are other little games. Hotline Miami 2, I think I got to know a lot more recently. Very good. Titan Souls, very strange and ambient game.
Helldivers, was that this year?
Yeah, Helldivers came out this year. So there's a lot of smaller. Like you already said, Ori. I think State of Decay came back out and was very good. It's been a pretty solid year so far.
It's been in stride with what we were predicting and promised, I think, really, and what this generation of games is going to be, right? You're going to have these tentpole giant games that you can't wait for, and then you're going to have all this indie stuff in between, right? Yeah. And I feel like from launch till The Order, that was like where you're getting these games and they're like,
The Order came out this year.
These are half-baked and they're not really like the games we were expecting. And now we're to the point where like, no, this is what you've been expecting from this PlayStation 4, Xbox One experience.
Excellent. So, this topic has been sponsored by Loot Crate. Thank you so much, Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then Loot Crate is the subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Be sure to head to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Every month, there's a different theme. You're guaranteed $40 or more worth of items, all curated around the theme. They're inspired by classic movie and video game stuff, and it's all epic and great. This month, Loot Crate presents Heroes 2. In this month's crate, we have several brave and bold items from DC Entertainment, including an exclusive figure.
Have we gotten this crate yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's the July crate, so I don't think we got it.
Oh, because it comes out the 15th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A licensed Legend of Zelda wearable, an enterprising Star Trek item. I like that.
That's cute.
With a whiff of whimsy, and our very first hardcover Looter Edition book. This is the loot you deserve and the loot you need right now. Whoever writes this at Loot Crate, I like you. You're a good dude. Or woman.
Dudette.
Yes. So go to lootcrate.com/KFgames and enter code KFgames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Thank you, Loot Crate.
Thank you, Luke Wright.